Coming from that conversation, another question that I like to pop is, because you've come from a marketing route and then entered PR versus someone who's coming from the PR education background, how do you think that differs, or how does that make a difference in the industry overall?
It was all about how fast I was adapting to the entire ecosystem of where I'm working. So that was it.
There are a lot of people who take break maybe from different industries and then enter PR industry, and specifically a lot of journalists who want to enter the PR industry as well. I think you need to know the intent of the conversation, and I think that's very important as well. So that also brings to me the professionalism aspect and making friendships in public relations, right?
I make friendships with people, genuine people whom I really adore, like what they are doing, something fantastic that I'm very proud of.
What do you think, being on the brand side, how do you treat an agency person or someone who's working from the agency side versus how, and because you've worked in agency as well, you understand how the agency culture looks like. What goes behind the two things, and how do they mend each other or make a way or a roadmap for the brand to build?
But then at the end of the day, I do what is right because I understand. So I feel agency was exhausting, but then agency taught me a lot.
When do you recommend them to actually join a brand, or should they start with a brand then join agency? What do you think the roadmap should be when initially a person is joining in the industry?
I mean, there's no time in agency that they'll sit and they'll teach you. They'll just throw you out.
Welcome to Peak a Pod, a podcast that inspires the young to think beyond the obvious. There are few friendships you want to bring back home. I have someone like that with me. After work, someone who I can talk about yet work, and someone who can make work a little bearable. So, welcome Charles to the podcast.
Thank you. And I love the introduction. When did you practice that?
I did not. We both know we work in PR,
I know.
That's something that's very spontaneously
and
comes
now
along.
that I do not have any PR colleague to guff with, you are the constant calls. I'm like, this happened.
I love that. I'm always the gossip monger, guys.
We all are. I think it's part of the personality, no?
Yeah, I think that's what PR is all about. So
makes sense.
Yeah, but we love it, definitely.
Yep.
So, okay, talking the serious route that we are, of course, this stuff will keep on going and we'll keep chatting. But how did you enter the PR industry? Let's start with that. Let's tell people what exactly PR is all about.
Okay, now fun fact, I have never done communications. I was never a part of this industry, but I was always intrigued. So it was a childhood dream to write for Times of India. So whenever, ghar pe newspaper aata tha, the idea was that I want my name here. I want to write something in this newspaper. That was the story. But then being from a Mallu family, education was a thing. So, took a different turn altogether, did marketing and stuff. Got into a sales job, something that I don't love, but I did it and I wanted to prove myself that, I'm capable of doing it. So I ended up doing it, but then Farzana, I was thinking about Farzana was a very good friend from Times. I landed a job in Times. So Farzana was a very good friend. She was editor in Bhopal for entertainment and I was doing F&B there. So we used to sit in the same office. That's when Farzana told me that why don't you shift into PR if you're not getting into journalism, because it was a difficult route. So she said, why don't you get into PR? I have a friend in PR who is looking to hire somebody as a fresher. And I said, okay, let's do it. I'll take the call. But then the massive fall was that she was only paying me 7,000 rupees. That was my salary. And I was fetching a way good salary before. Multitude times better. So I was like, 7,000 is something that it was tough. But I just took the leap of faith and I said that, any which ways I do not know anything about PR. Let's learn from the scratch. And I took the fall and I was like, let's do it. And that's how I got it into PR. I learned from day one, nobody to teach. So I used to call journalists and be like, मैं आपको disturb तो नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मैं आपसे कुछ बात कर लूँ, मेरे को ये चाहिए. It was so silly. Now that I go back to my calls, the first few calls that I made, and I feel like I was making a fool out of myself. But yeah, I learned.
I mean, we all learned that way. So yeah.
nobody to teach, but yeah, this happened.
Yeah. But then how do you think education is important when it comes to entering communications market? Do you think it is important, or it's fairly you learn on the
I mean,
job
it's a
skill?
learn on the job skill, but at the same time, you have to have education because communication is the key. And if you do not have, if you're not educated enough to talk about certain topics, have the knowledge of certain topics, I don't think so you'll be able to make it with just talking. Because बात करने वाले professions भी बहुत सारे हैं. This is one of those professions where you talk, but then you talk intelligent.
Yeah.
So you need to be educated. I think it's very, very important to be educated. I've always been a flag bearer of having a proper education. Not that my parents also enforced it on me, but then eventually when I got out of the education system and I was in the real life, a real game altogether, I felt that, you know, thankfully I was educated enough that I have knowledge to talk about certain things. So, yeah. Yes to education.
Okay. You know, coming from that conversation, another question that I like to pop is, because you've come from a marketing route and then entered PR versus someone who's coming from the PR education background, how do you think that differs, or how does that make a difference in the industry overall?
So I personally did not feel much of a heat there. I mean, I met so many people who came from PR and communications background, journalism background. The only problem that initially I felt was कि मेरे को job नहीं मिल रहा था in journalism. That was the only thing, because they were asking कि आपका basic course क्या है and all that. But उसके अलावा I don't think so कि मुझे कभी भी कोई problem हुआ. It was all about how fast I was adapting to the entire ecosystem of, you know, where I'm working. So that was it.
Yeah,
and
because
education
I asked
basic
this
will
question because there are a lot of people who take break maybe from different industries and then enter PR industry, and specifically a lot of journalists who want to enter the PR industry as well. So I asked from their perspective that how important do you think someone who understands PR is versus to someone who's probably a newbie in the industry. So that's the major quote.
I mean, even if they want to feel a little more confident, you know, while entering to a certain industry, I think it's okay for them to go and do a different course or for it. But then I don't think so that they should spend time going to college and sitting and doing that, because they have already done a lot of work. So now going back and sitting in a college and studying a skill is something that I wouldn't recommend. I would rather tell them to, you know, maybe take certain classes or courses, and that's good enough. I don't think so you need to have a full-fledged course or degree in it after you have worked for so long.
What are the top 3 skills you need to enter in PR?
Okay. Great communication skills. A sense of knowing that, you know, whatever you're going to do is going to make larger noise. So, you know, to understand those hints or to get the idea, you know, this is what you want. I do not know how to put it in words. It's very difficult because
but
you
I
just
think you
enter
just
the
need
room.
to have that kind of passion and that love for the industry to enter into. I think because it can be exhausting.
It can be.
I
It
mean-
is exhausting. Yes, it's
So-
24/7 job. I mean, I have taken calls at 4 a.m. and consoled celebrities because I was earlier in celebrity PR. Things can go haywire at any point. Even in my current job, I do not want to name what the problems were. But yeah, I mean, there have been instances where you have to be on your toe and people do not understand what's happening, but you know what are the repercussions that's going to happen. So you have to be on your toe. So yeah, it's exhausting. So you need to love your job. Otherwise, you cannot survive in this industry. Cannot happen.
Okay. And that also brings me to said, because you work from celebrity PR and now you're handling automotive, how has the industry shift been? How difficult has been, or has that been very intriguing or making you curious that okay, it's something that I'm going to learn new about the industry? How
I
has that
think
been?
जो लोग ये नहीं करते हैं उनको try करना चाहिए. बहुत मजा आता है because it's like you are starting from the scratch. When I was in entertainment, I made friends with a lot of journalists. It was nice. It felt like a family, a community. Everyone knows each other. It was great. And then I decided to go to automobile. Again, a new world. Nobody knows me. I mean, it's a start from the scratch. And then when you start making your name for yourself, and then there are certain people who are prominent in the industry, and then they know you, that's when you get the sense of achievement. I mean, honestly, PR is a thankless job. Nobody comes back to you and say कि thank you, तुम्हारी वजह से ऐसा हुआ. बहुत rarely ऐसा होता है. So when you personally do these kind of things, it's a sense of achievement that you get, and I think that validation is amazing, and you do it for yourself. So it's not coming from somebody else. You did something, and you got a feedback, and that's your validation. There's nothing like it.
Right. And how do you think this shift in industry helps? Like, for instance, what are the top skills that you think help this shift in industry? Is it the education? Is it reading about the industry? Is it just being interested in the industry? What is it?
Interest to thani. So, I mean, a lot of people ask me this question that, you know, while you're jumping from one industry to another and then you do not know anything about that industry, how do you survive? How do you balance it out? And I always tell them that, you know, it's all about, you know, opening a new book and start reading. And when you keep on reading and keep on going further, you start learning, you start getting into it. When I joined Boy Toyz, I had zero clue about cars. I love cars, but I have zero clues about cars. I made a video where I do not even know how to pick up a bonnet of a Bentley, and apparently it's not just Bentley, it's most of the cars. So I was like,
I remember the video you went under the car, like, karna kya hai, but.
So yeah, I mean, I do not know. But then now that I'm in this industry, there are people who know about this industry. I work in a building where everyone is car fanatic. So they talk. And all you have to do is to listen. Just give them more questions. We are PR, we ask questions. So I ask questions to them, they give me answers, I learn and I adapt. And today when you come to me and ask me about cars, I can tell you a little better than what I used to be. So I think I'm learning and it's fun. So talking about the top skills, it should be, you know, you should need to learn and listen. That's the only two skills that you need to have.
And how important is asking the right question?
Very important. I mean,
I need more than that.
Asking the right question, Riya. Very important to ask right questions because otherwise you just seem dumb.
No. Okay. From a podcast perspective, what I meant was, how important is it to ask the right question, and also how to gain that kind of probably confidence or that kind of knowledge to ask the right kind of question?
I think to know the end goal of your entire conversation. When you know the end goal, what you want to get out of this conversation, you might have seen many times there are interviewers who want to copy some other interviewer and they try to take a different route. They go to their childhood and they come from there. The same flow they try to follow, which is not their original personality. And when they leave their personality, the questions kind of feel dumb. And that's where they lose their originality. And they just want to make something, and the end goal is very different. So first you fix your end goal, what you want out of that conversation. Once you know the conversation, then you plan your questions. The questions need to go in a flow where you are making the other person comfortable to answer those questions. So it's very easy. Just know what you want to take out of this conversation and then plan your flow. Don't copy. That's the only way of writing the last question.
But that's so right. I mean, I think you need to know the intent of the conversation, and I think that's very important as well. So that also brings to me the professionalism aspect and making friendships in public relations, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have a lot of friends I know of who are journalists, and it's more than just professionalism.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's a chord between that, okay, this is where the professional friendship ends, or do you want to take it very professional and not build a relationship? And if you want to even build a relationship which is very professional, how do you do so?
So I am somebody who love to have personal relations, and everything is personal for me. But that's for me. So I make friendships with people, genuine people whom I really adore, like, or they are doing something fantastic that I'm very proud of. So, and I can name all of them. So I have their names, I call them all the time. Even if I don't get to call them, whenever I call them, I start from where I left. So that's the kind of friendships that I have created with everyone that I work with in PR. People think that, PR friendships are not real because we only go to certain people to get the value out of them. and which is a very honest notion because eventually that's what our job says. But I keep very fine distance between professional friendships and the personal friendships. There are people who know me from different parts of my life, so they are different. When it comes to my professional friendships in PR, I think they are also very personal to me. I keep very close friendship with them. I know what their house is like. I know what their kid is doing or what is happening in their life. I like to have that conversation. I think that makes me a stronger PR. But then there are certain people who I do not like. So I only call them for certain things and I do not even pretend to be friends with them. I'm very, cut to cut with them. So yeah, I keep very far distance between both the relations.
But do you think professional friendships are important, like in general?
I mean, when you have professional friendships, you can talk about what is going on. You get a lot of trend, you get a lot of gossips from them, you get what's new happening. Today, when I work as a solo PR in the brand, I don't get to know what's happening in the PR industry or what is the trend that is going between other industries and how people are collaborating. So I have to read, I have to follow a lot of pages, I have to, call a lot of people, ask them what is happening. If I would have been working in an agency, things would have been different because there is a lot of brands, a lot of people they are discussing. So I think friendships kind of helps and kind of bridges that gap for me. So it's great to have.
And right. Also, from that question, it arises to me. You talked about in-house PR versus agency PR.
Yeah.
I want to delve a little more. How do you think both are very different or both needs to be synchronized? I mean, I understand how synchronized both the communications need to be.
Yeah.
But what do you think, being on the brand side, how do you treat an agency person or someone who's working from the agency side versus how, and because you have worked in agency as well, you understand how the agency culture looks like. What goes behind the two things and how do they mend each other or make a way or a roadmap for the brand to build?
Okay. So, I mean, having a PR in-house is always a great option, especially from a brand POV, because it kind of solves a lot of problem for them. In PR, we always say that, whenever a communication is thrown out, it kind of goes through multiple filters, especially in brands. It goes through multiple filters. And by the end of it, it just looks like a AI generated text, which loses the entire essence of that communication. So to have a PR in-house, at least that saves you from, making it generic. Because even today, when I get some communication to, take out, I kind of do it my way only. I let them have their ego boost. But then at the end of the day, I do what is right because I understand this sector. I have been living in this industry. This is my community. I understand how they talk, how they want to take the things out. So I think that value kind of adds. Comparing in-house PR to an agency was tough. It was exhausting, to be honest. 20 clients in one go. You have calls ringing every second. There was no time to breathe, and I believe that I was doing 3-4 work together at one point. I was running and I was doing everything together. My friends used to call me to hang out. I was with them, but I was not present. So I feel agency was exhausting, but then agency taught me a lot. That exhaustion was not good for me, but I think I needed a crash course because, like we discussed, I was not from this industry. I did not learn. So that was a crash course for me. I picked up really quick and I was doing so much together. From the brand POV to have an agency, it kind of helps them a lot because it saves them time. It kind of adds more people who are coming from industry who know what they are doing, and it gives value and volume. So when we were doing QDC, you guys came in from a different PR agency. You guys came in as third party, and I mean, having you was such a relief. Because me as a solo person would have taken entire day to throw out the press releases, but then you guys came in and it was done by the end. By the time event got over, we were done. So I think agency kind of is a helping hand that kind of saves time and volume wise it helps a lot. So, yeah.
So person who's starting out, when do you recommend them to actually join a brand? Or should they start with a brand, then join agency? What do you think the roadmap should be when initially a person is joining in the industry?
My personal experience, I think join agency. They will teach you how to work. because there is no time for them. I mean, there is no time in agency that they'll sit and they'll teach you. They'll just throw you out, and you just have to learn. And then there is so much to do that you do not have time to time pass.
True.
So you just work. So I think you start from agency, take the experience, make contacts, have an understanding of how this industry works. And then if later in your career, if you want to join a brand, you join a brand, because now it feels like very comfortable position. From 20 clients to now maybe 6, 7, 8 profiles, it's still easier. The phone is not ringing all the time. You can always draw boundaries when it comes to your corporate timings. So that's nice. It kind of helps a lot. Agency, there was no boundaries, no timelines. Everything was 24/7. In corporate, it's a little better. I'm not saying it's a lot better. It's a little better.
I think that's something PR does
Yeah.
to you. So you're also on the highways.
Yeah.
Of-
But I don't think so. I will go back to an agency anytime soon.
I usually
I
say
had
to
good
a
experience,
newcomer
but I don't think
that
so I
you
want
need
to
to
go.
have an ADHD mind if you want to enter PR.
Really?
Yeah.
Why so?
I mean, because you're so hyper active all the time, and
Yeah.
that's, I think, one of the main perks of being hyper active, that you generally can switch between too many staffs. You are able to read to through many industries.
So true.
So that's something that I generally just say it out
Yeah.
and not disclaiming out any mental or neurodivergent people here, but as a fun joke. But yeah, so okay.
But I think we as a young PRs, we are always on our toes to prove ourselves. I see PRs who are like 20, 25 years old in the system, they are much calmer and they
Yeah.
know their thing. Like they know what's happening and they'll take care of it. We as a young professionals, we kind of push a little harder. I mean, we are always hard on ourselves because we want to prove and make ourselves known.
True. I think, but that's the initial hustle also, because you're also starting to build those relationships. You're learning about the industry, and then at certain point you're like, okay, fine, I want to be nonchalant about it. So I only.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that also works a lot. But now talking to from your personal experiences, okay, let's listen a fun story. What has been the most fun, glamorous story for you in the PR segment?
Okay, let me tell you the story. I do not know if I should name the actress, but something really fun happened because I was very new to the PR. It was just my second year maybe as a PR. It was Ganesh Chaturthi time. So there was this thing about that year that every celebrity wanted to go for Ganpati Darshan. Especially Lal Bagh Cha Raja was the thing that everyone wants to go there only, and everyone wants to have a VIP route. Now, every PR person that I know or is there in my contact list, everyone was trying to do the same for their artist. Everyone wanted to go. So one of my artists, I got her about 4 or 5 big spots to go for Ganpati Darshan. We did all 4. Now the final one was this. Now unfortunately we were unable to get the main Lal Bagh Cha Raja ka darshan. But then there is Mumbai Cha Raja also, which is right next to it. So it's like thoda aju baju hai. And now that was now that particular day it was Rashri production who was doing it. So it was huge because every person from the Rashri family and the building was there. So I was like, maybe we cannot do Lal Bagh Cha Raja today, and it was the last day, so I understand that the rush of it. So I said, maybe we cannot do this, but you come for this one. This is bigger, and this is production house we are talking about. You are an actress. I think this is the much better route to go. She was not convinced. She took her car and she was waiting right outside Lal Bagh Cha Raja, and she was like, I have to go here only, and I will go here only. And I was not in the same city. I was in a different city. And now I do not know what to do. She's there and she's not leaving and she's screaming and her manager is calling me, my boss is calling me, my colleagues are calling me and they're like, what to do? And this was a big client for my then PR. I started calling everyone, and that day I called somebody on the top management of Big FM because I got to know that Big FM is also a radio partner for them. Because I saw the banner and there was a Big FM ka logo in it. And I called everyone whose logo was there so that somebody can do the guest listing and I can get it. And I'm on call, back-to-back calls. And then I called one of my RJ friends. She connected me to somebody else, and then somebody else, and I ended up talking to somebody on the top management of Big FM. And I said, I'm not naming that person, but I think she was pregnant. She was on her maternity leave. She picked up the phone late at night around 12:31, and she said, Charles, बहुत difficult है, but let me try because it's already night. But I think my team is there. Let me call and check. She called. She made it. But by the time I got the call and I got the invite, that actress's driver, he had a relative in the committee. And that person gave the invite, and they were already inside. And I said, I made calls to the entire world at 1 a.m. And I finally got the invite, but it's of no use because she's already in, because her driver's relative was in the committee. I was like, yeah. So that was one of the day when I got panic attacks, anxiety, everything that you want to name it. I had it all. But yeah, and then that actress, of course, got me off from her PR team. But yeah, that was one experience that I will never forget, because I know at that moment how many calls and how many people, and I love that Big FM person, to pick up my call late at night, being pregnant, still helping her. I think I love her, and I owe one to her for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so now let's dive a little into the hardcore PR segment. What do you think are the first things when a person's entering into PR should do? How should they go into the brand? How should they read about the brand? What are those things that you think?
Okay, so जब मेरा हुआ था तब वो तो बहुत candid था, but now that I'm seeing a lot of interns coming to me, especially these days, what I'm seeing is lagging is that they don't even read about the brand. So they come for interview or they come for internship, but then they do not read about the brand. They do not know what they do, or who are the people who sit in the management, who are you going to work with. Zero clue. Just the idea कि PR में काम करना है. And I'm like, you are going to colleges, you are studying about PR. You do not know how to write the basics. Which is funny, because when I was writing the article, at least I had the passion and I wanted to learn and I wanted to read and understand how it's done. So I used to ask questions to journalists also, that you tell me how do you want me to write, and I'll write it for you. So a lot of journalists, I used to write articles and send it to them, because I was like, I'll make it easier for you, and at the same time I learn. I think anyone who want to enter in this industry today to become a PR, first try to learn about where you're going to get into. Everything you need to know. You are working as a lawyer at some point. You're reading the facts, what can go wrong, what can go right. You need to have the exact idea. So if you do not read, you do not understand, and you're coming to this industry thinking that somebody will handhold and teach you how it's done, it's not that easy. And especially if you're going for crisis management, particularly, oh dude, you are not welcomed in that industry at all if you do not know how to understand and read the room.
True.
Read the room. I think that's the biggest skill you need to have. Read the room. If you cannot do that, don't come.
And okay, so bringing to that, what exactly, because a lot of people say read newspapers. I know a lot of people don't. Most of them, in fact, don't themselves. What do you think is something that a person should read to develop the knack? I mean, even before choosing the industries or choosing the beat, when they're in college, I mean, I know my professors who used to keep pushing me to read Philip Kotler as much as I have no words. But what do you think is very important to read? I think newspapers definitely is one of them, but after newspapers, what is it?
So I'm somebody who loves traditional media. Radios, television, newspaper is still my go-to. Magazines I still love to read. But I don't think so it's time for the newer generation to do that, because they do not read, they do not even get newspapers in their homes anymore. So I understand that, the resource is not there for you. So what you can still do is at least start following a lot of media pages. Or the new trend, there are people like Faye D'Souza, there are people like Palki, who are amazing journalists who want to take out the news story and want to take a different perspective and angle. I think for the newer generation, you need to have an idol. You should start following a journalist per se, not an influencer, but a journalist who understands and who is giving the right information. Once you have the right information, I believe if you're not reading, then talk. Talking you love, then talk. But talk, and then when you get the information, just ask for reference. Where did you got this information from? And let the other person tell you that what media portal or what media and where they got this source from. That's how you can, kind of work it out. If you're not reading, then do this. That's the easier route. You talk, you ask questions, you get the information, you just ask where you got this information from. Get the valid source.
Yeah.
And once you have the valid source, that's good enough. I have like 10 news apps in my phone. Even if I'm not going to each app and reading, the notification is good enough. At least I get to know what's happening around because it's real-time information. So it's good to have.
No, right. I think true. I have stopped absorbing my knowledge from memes to those platforms.
Memes and all is fun to have what sarcasm is going on. So I follow those pages, but I don't take the information from them because. But then, good idea to follow meme pages because they are the one who kind of starts poking on the topics that media is not talking about.
Actually is.
Not about trend. I mean, they talk about the things that media do not want to talk about. Most of the meme pages are always doing that news that media will not pick up because they want to make a joke out of it. But then that's the fun fact because they made a joke out of it. But now there's a topic that media is not talking about, so you can dig into it.
Yeah.
So it's fun. I have to follow those pages because of that. They are very fast.
I've never actually thought from that perspective, but okay. Now I know I'll always see it from that perspective.
Yeah, no, and especially that I love politics and stuff. I mean, I love to have an opinion about politics. So I follow these meme pages because they always have something negative to talk about somebody or something really sarcastic to talk about. And it's fun because then from there on you can start digging and know more.
No, I think that's true. But I think that's also the unglamorous part of PR. A lot of research, I feel. I mean, personally, I love research, but there are a lot of people who don't like it. Let's talk a little about the non-glamorous part because we have glamorized it a little for people to just come in. But it's not that glamorous and we both know it.
Yeah.
So, what do you think are some facts that people should be with if they want to enter PR industry?
So, I mean, the non-glamorous part, like you rightly said, research is the non-glamorous part. Also, it's a thankless job. I have said it before in this podcast. I'll say it again and reinforce it, in fact. It's a thankless job. Nobody's coming to you and saying thank you. You are working with several egos because you are in the center of it. You have some talent, some brand to work with. You have a journalist and a media house to work with. Everyone thinks that they are the best and you are in the center. So when you are in the center, the glamour part, you can show it on the social media. You're going for the red carpet, you're meeting celebrities, big shots. But at the end of the day, those big shots and everyone is there with you because you are adding value to their life. Otherwise, nobody cares. Nobody have time for anyone. So you need to know that you are there for work. You work, you get out and you go to your real friends and enjoy the real life. You do not enjoy where you are, you work. You can enjoy your work, but that's a different kind of enjoyment. You always have to be, in the right mind. Tomorrow I cannot go to my office and be like, let's go clubbing. And even if I go to clubbing with them, that doesn't mean that I lose control. I have to have a control in my mouths. I cannot talk too much or give too much information. So I think the non-glamorous part is just that. You need to have a proper research, you need to be aware and you cannot lose your control.
No. And definitely working hours, that shit. But yeah.
For me, working hours is okay because I kind of love doing it. But there are days when you do not want to do it. But that's what, I mean, if you are confident in what you're doing and if you know how it's done, then any time is good time because you'll be able to do it.
True.
We have done an event in a week time because the press release also got done like 2 days before. So I think everything is done as long as you know how it needs to be done.
Yeah, I mean, you need to have the passion for it. I think I've said it before also, but I truly believe that if you love your job, I personally do, and that makes me want to work even if it's for 24/7.
So I think true. And especially when I was in entertainment PR, everyone was like, "Arey, celebrity ke saath ghumta hai." Instagram में photos डाल रही हैं, and I was like, most of the pictures I did not even post because I was like, I was working any which ways. People see red carpet के videos on their Instagram and they're like कि कितना मजा आ रहा है, कितना अच्छा है, but then behind the cameras or behind what you see on the reel, everyone is shouting, it's crazy heat, there is no time to enter, everyone is irritated, angry. Have you been to red carpets?
I mean, a few times for a few like a guest and PR, but
how
it's
did
crazy.
You like the environment?
I mean, it's crazy. I think,
is, right?
Yeah, it's very crazy.
Talk
feel.
About the latest Alia
I mean,
Bhatt.
I'll tell you this. Most of the people feel, and almost all of my friends keep saying that, oh my God, you keep traveling. I'm like, no, it's not travel. It's just work. Ask me. I'll give anything in my life right now to not go on that trip and stay back on my desk and complete my work.
So true. I mean, I was talking about the Alia Bhatt bit because I mean, everyone saw that, you know, she was waving to the cameras, but that's how it's done. I mean, when Modi ji do it, it's okay, but when Alia Bhatt do it, it's not okay. I mean, that's not fair.
I mean, I think people also need someone to just put out their, I don't know, anxious feelings on, and that's why they just pick someone up and just throw it out. I mean, they were doing the same for Jannat Zubair, that people did not actually notice her on red carpet, and she was there.
Yeah.
And then
she was?
Yeah.
This year?
Yeah.
Oh, there's no news.
She was with the jewelry brand collaboration. She got no mileage about it, and people were bashing her on the Instagram.
Maybe the jewelry brand got out of money.
Yeah. But like...
because
but then,
very widely known fact this year for the Cannes is that there are only 2 films that has gone that are sponsored.
Meher was my friend.
Else.
Meher has been my college friend. So,
oh really? Nice.
We were in whips. So.
But yeah, everyone knows that only there are a couple of films that goes, and then there is Aishwarya Rai. Everything and anyone else is there for some other reasons, but for the main event.
But I think most of the people also don't know that there are brand collaborations. People actually go because of that. And it's not
global visibility time. And I think this year I got a lot of calls for this Cannes thing that everyone wanted, you know, 30 lakh do, 40 lakh do, you will go to the red carpet. And I was like, now don't sell it as a bazaar. Any which way it's a movie market, but then don't sell it like
most of the people don't even know about movies there. Like they don't know anything about cinematography.
So all languages.
It's just people go there that okay, they'll get the mileage and they'll get the PR and have no exaggeration or like king towards the movies. Like Parul Gulati, Nishar.
Oh yeah.
She just went there for a lot of PR
and
drama.
I think she did great for herself. I think that's the PR moment.
But I think that's one thing that I love about her is that she openly promotes her
and
work.
leverage. She's a great PR example.
Yeah.
She understands what her resources are. She researches well. She kind of get herself to right places, seen with right people, and especially her hair dress. I think brilliant masterpiece of, you know, how the PR needs to be done.
Yeah, I mean, good or bad. Let's
good or bad, she did good.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you get into the PR market. That's how you work for yourself. So, I mean, in fact, for that matter, one brand that I love is Gully Labs in the PR domain. That they're doing really good.
I think their product is doing much better than what their PR can do.
I mean,
I think the product is talking for itself. Great product, great vibe. The personality of the brand is very fresh and very new. I mean, it would be fantastic to see what PR will do once the personality kind of goes outdated.
I think that the founders are also a little shy is what I'll say to this. But otherwise...
PR का काम तो तभी पता चलता है ना जब actual में brand का personality outdated होने लगे.
But I think that is what is also very important, stakeholder management. That how much can you actually influence your stakeholders to come out in the media or in the domain.
But all in good time. I mean, I've seen PRs who kind of pushes way too much. And I'm like, that's where you lose the connect. So now you're just doing it out of mandate. But don't do it out of mandate. Make the other person comfortable enough to come out and do something. Or else do your work. Let them do their work and you do yours. So, for example, there are people in my current brand who do not like to come in front of camera, who do not like to talk. But now I cannot push them to do something that they do not want to do.
Hmm.
So I let them do whatever they want to do and however they want to do it. It's my job to take care of the rest, to get the coverages, to make sure that everyone is talking about them. If they do not want to come on camera, then off camera I make sure that they have the meetings with the right people. I think that that's good enough for me to be a PR and make sure that, you know, the brand is shown in the right light, maybe not to the audiences but to the right people.
But how do you think, how important is stakeholder management and how do you control that actually?
I think it's different to every situation, because I do not know how to answer this question, because I think I have met different people with different personalities. And first I do is I understand the personality, I get into the story of that person to know better how to channelize this thing. For example, no, I cannot give examples, sorry. I have to take names, I do not want to take names. But yeah, I mean, it's all about understanding the story.
I think one of the most important things you should do for stakeholder management is, like you said, personality understanding. You can only build up on a personality and you cannot change a personality. A lot of PRs try to do that. They try
Changing
to
a
change.
personality means that your person, for the one that you're working with, needs to be street smart, understand the narrative, and kind of hold on to that narrative, because once that narrative breaks, that's when the entire PR comes falling, because then the audience know the reality. So if you want to change the personality, then the talent needs to be you know, smart enough to understand that this is the narrative that you needs to hold on to. A lot of celebrities understand this because they have a different personality for the cameras. Off camera they are different, on camera they are different, because they understand the narrative. So with them you can change the stories. But for the real person, or especially the business people, they cannot understand the narratives. So to make them stand in front of the camera and do a different personality is not a right thing to do. Let them have their original personality out there. What you can still do is talk to the journalist, cut things that you do not want to go out. That's the simplest thing. They can still keep their personality and we can still cut off few things.
But how did you make sure you want to go into celebrity PR? What was that instant that made you
I told
choose?
you, it was not something that I picked for myself.
But if given a chance, would you have picked celebrity PR?
I think I would have, because at the end of the day, I wanted to write for newspaper. I would have taken politics also because I had interest. I would have taken celebrities, good to go. I think the first job of technically PR, not PR, but communications I got was for the e-gaming. And that's what I said no to, because I had zero clue about it. I was like, I've never played one. My phone मेरे phone में कभी था ही नहीं कोई भी game. The last game or the game that I've ever played is that Nokia ka snake wala game. I've never done it. So when that offer came to me, and it was brilliant offer because it was for television and they were starting with their television promotions, and it was great position to have. But I said no, because one, zero clue about the job, two, zero knowledge about the industry that I'm going to step in. I said, even if I take this job, and which was offered to me, regardless of my knowledge or whatever, it was offered to me, but I said, even if I take this job, I'm not going to do great. And then you are going to feel that, you know, I'm not good enough. So today you feel that I'm good, and that's a great compliment. I just do not want to destroy that personality. I'm like, it's okay, you take your job, you find somebody more appropriate, but I might return when I know a little bit more, or I feel confident enough that I can do it.
But someone who's entering the industry, should they be, do you think they should be a little selective about the industry they are entering with, or should they not be?
I'm not saying to be selective, but I'm also saying that, you know, at least be aware about what you're gonna do, because कहीं पे भी मुंह मारने से काम नहीं चलता ना. I mean, whatever comes to your plate is not for you to eat. So it's sometimes you just have to be a little careful about what you're gonna do, because especially in PR, it's kind of going to break your personality or reputation. If I get into something that I'm not good at, there are people who are seeing you, and then they are going to talk to other people. You just do not want to be in that position.
Right.
Today when we fight with some of the journalists, they go to other journalists and they talk about it. So if you are somebody who is new and you made a mistake can be forgiven. But if that thing has shown like a personality, now that cannot be corrected. Now it will take a lot of effort.
Also, this brings me to the last segment of our interaction. I mean, uh, I want to restructure it a little towards the media industry also, and not just strictly keep it towards public relations. How do you think media industry is changing? What is it, something that used to work but now doesn't work? Do you think traditional media is dying? So what are those shifts or trends?
I'm really heartbroken when I see that the traditional media is dying. Um, it's it, I mean, to say it will die, it's not right. My college
Yeah.
study was about this, that whether radio will be still relevant in next 10 years, and I think it is still relevant. People are still listening to radios. But yeah, I mean, there was an eye opener for me when I saw that one of my friends used to work for Akashvani, and she said that till date she gets 500 handwritten letter every week for her show. And that's when I realized that maybe the metros are not listening to the radios anymore, but then there are still cities, there are still audience who are still listening. And that's when I started my research on it, that whether or not it will be relevant. And I think traditional media will survive till the end of it. But yeah, the quality is something that I'm really heartbroken about. I was talking to one of the very senior journalists who is now retired. And I said, when you used to come on television, it used to be amazing to see you on television, because you came out and you did the story that nobody was talking about. And now the stories are very predictable. Like what's going to come out. So that predictability is kind of killing the traditional media, because the original fire of being a journalist is something that is now missing.
I mean, yeah, I think similar thing was said to me by one of the legends, radio speaker and a storyteller, and he said you just need to be a good storyteller to tell, and nothing's dying.
Yeah.
If you know your story is great, people will come and hear you back. So I think that's something that stayed with me for it till it has stayed for me. But I think it's how you tell your story, and that's how people like to listen.
I think that's why I named two very very brilliant journalists in this conversation. One was Faith, second was Palki. I'm loving how they are reporting news, how they have taken themselves out of the system and created their own system. Now they are going to talk about things that they want to talk about. Yes, they are still careful about things because of course we are falling on the let me not put it out. We know what I'm talking about, but okay. So I'm really happy about those kind of journalists who are taking out the story, taking out time, and I think they are the ones who will keep the traditional media also alive, because they will keep on triggering new subjects to talk about, and the media at the end of the day have to write. If they want to survive, they have to write. So I think there are still hope, and hope is good enough.
And how do you think new age media is taking up? Like, be it podcasts, be it meme pages, be it influencers. How do you think those are shaping the media industry overall?
Well, even these journalists are on social media, right? So social media is a great source of information today. The entire new age journalism, or the new age podcast, or however you want to put it, I think it's brilliant, because not everything is useful, but at least something is useful in the entire structure. So today I do not have time to sit and see 10 podcasts. I do not have that time. So I picked up whom I want to listen to. But then the new people, especially in this entire podcast, we're talking about the new entrants. When you are in college or when you are in school and you have this ambition that you want to have this profession, I think it's a great mode of understanding how the profession is going to look like, because then you can go to several podcasts, read, understand, learn a little bit more about what you want to. I think back in days when we were there, only YouTube was the option. Orkut was the first social media. There was nothing too much, but today you have so many options. So I mean, use the resources to the best of its capabilities, and it's great. So I don't have any problem with new age journalism. It's just that I'm more friendly or more known to the traditional media. So having a newspaper in the morning, or keeping magazines to myself and generally glancing through it, it's something that I feel comfortable about. But that doesn't mean I do not have new age apps or I'm not following the trends. Most of my friends are like, what, 20, 25 years of age. So it's great to hang out with them to know what's the new trend. But I'm also not going and leaving my roots. So I'm still sticking to traditional media.
Okay. I think that brings us to the rapid fire. And
Let's do it.
Okay. Okay. So, what do you like better, agency or brand side?
Brand side now because it's so comfortable.
Okay. What do you like better, a morning 4 a.m. coffee or a late midnight beer session with the office colleagues?
Late beer night, beer session with the colleagues. It's fun. 4 a.m. coffee, I'm not doing.
And crisis can strike you anytime.
But that's a different story.
Yeah.
Rarity I can do.
So yeah. Okay. What do you think is better industry? Whichever you've worked for.
Oh, F&B. Love F&B. When I was with hospitality, it was great. You get good food. Everyone is so generous. Everyone is so polite. And because it's hospitality, so generally everyone is super nice. And then you get to live and stay in 7-star hotels for free. And then they do special things for you. It's amazing. I think hospitality.
Okay. One brand you would love to work with.
One brand I would love to work with. Oh, there are so many brands, but at this point, I really want to work with Nike. So I'm hoping that happens someday. But before that, I'm okay with a lot of options.
Okay. And I think my last question, what do you prefer? Would you still prefer working in PR or choosing a different direction?
I am a PR person. Media person, not a PR person. I'm a media person. Put me in journalism, put me in PR, put me in communication, put me anywhere in media and I'll still survive. I love this industry.
Okay, I think let's conclude it with the love of media that he has.
Love for media.
Yeah.